What up, people? When y'all get here, I'll wait for a couple of minutes to go by, and then we'll say what we say. Wait until I get up in here. Yeet, 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 yeet. All that goodish. It's your boy Kenny. Chances here. You already know what it is. We're going to talk some about the best moments in wrestling 2021. And we might even talk about some of the worst moments of 2021, depending on where it takes us. But if we talk about WWE, it might end up going to the worst moments of 2021. With that being said, you already know what it is. Merch gang is there. Go ahead and check out the Pro Wrestling Tees. It's in the description box. Everything's here. We here. If y'all want to talk, comment, say what y'all got to say. We'll feed off that, all that goodish. Kenny, where you want to start, man?
And natural progression of things. I'm gonna start with some heel shit. One of the best moments wrestling was MJF on the mic, being able to go back on the road. Whenever you're in the city, they give them the mic in his hand in Cincinnati, for example, or even going the opposite way when he went back to Long Island, and he wasn't really a heel. We talked about that a couple weeks ago. It wasn't a heel, even though it's a hometown hero type thing. So get that man the mic, and it's another best moment. Every time he has the mic in his hand, we can say it's one of the best moments of wrestling for the year. So I'm gonna start there with MJF with the mic in his hand.
I'm not even gonna lie. I did not think you were gonna go to MJF for one of the wrestling moments of the year. I thought you were gonna go where I'll go, which is the man that he currently has beef with, unless they did it that, which I don't believe we've got that conclusion yet. CM Punk, the return of CM Punk to wrestling, and not just wrestling, but AEW was major. How long he was gone? 7 years.
7 years.
Now, that was crazy. That to me, and the way that they're putting him in, they're putting him to use. He's working the crowd. He's working the young talent. He's doing everything that he should be doing as an older veteran.
Facts.
Would be
But another best moment. It's probably a little biased because I was there live. This happened down there in Miami. Aleister Black, Malachi Black's debut down here in Miami. That. It wasn't that we didn't think it was gonna happen, but it happened as soon as we thought it was possible to happen. And it was, there was maybe he won't come because his wife got rehired and all that stuff. He had all this stuff going on, and it had a little teaser because when people talk about well, at least me, a lot of time I give WWE some credit still, they producers can produce. I mean, Kevin Dunn mess up every once in a while with his, because sometimes they focus too much on some stupid shit, like how I always bring up how they missed the Edge pop in the Rumble. But overall, they packages, all the stuff they do, their production is A1. This time, AEW took the cake because earlier in the show during the Cody versus QT Marshall, the lights went out for a little bit, and everyone's like, fuck. And it was that first show back on the road, which I know they knew had to factor in because we're like, damn, they ain't got this shit back. Like, it's because they're down in Jacksonville, they're gonna work the lights back here, some shit. That's crazy. And then there's like, nah, it's a little teaser because the lights went off again, and we're all like, nah, not the lights fucking again. The show's almost over. What the fuck they fucking up for now? Nah. Middle of the ring on some magic shit. Malachi Black, Salt Cody, and then we had that pretty nice feud, I think. So that's one of my moments of the year. A little biased because I was there, but definitely one of my moments.
The crazy thing, and this might end up being a recurring theme, is I'm gonna go with another AEW moment. And the crazy thing is that we haven't mentioned the WWE moment yet. But if we're doing potential spoilers and teasers that were supposed to happen that we knew, I think the fact that the whole Undisputed Era is now in AEW, which if you've seen the meme that's going around on Twitter and everything, it was Ring of Honor, it was WWE, and now it's AEW.
Yeah, I seen on Squared Circle on Reddit because I go on there every once in a while. I see other opinions, try to bring them to the show and stuff. A dude said Adam Cole got to be one of the cleanest showman in existence because he's basically made money doing the same exact thing 3 times. Because when I was telling people about the feud with Kenny Omega, it's gonna happen because it's gonna happen. Part of the reason why I know it's gonna happen is because it happened in New Japan when really it started in Ring of Honor because he came over with Redragon, which is Kyle O'Reilly and Bobby Fish. So again, we seen this coming, but it happened as soon as we needed it to happen, basically.
Facts. Oh, hold on, Mike. Michael's here. I'm gonna go down to the show. It's your boy. We'll let Mike give one of his
What the heck?
We'll let you give one of your great moments of of wrestling 2021. Like we've had 4 moments of AEW. We failed to mention a WWE great moment.
I had one.
Wow, that's that's not biased at all. That's not biased at all. So a great moment from that was 2021. See, I don't even know. Like all the years started blending together. But one of the great moments from WWE.
Hold on, let me cut you off real quick, Mike. Is there like a thing going on in Miami? Because why you and Kenny both sound like y'all got a cold?
Oh, I'm definitely sick.
I don't know. It's pretty late for me. So
okay. That's what it is.
Yeah, I'm still growing.
All right, my bad. Give me a moment.
No, okay. So for me, it was the reign of Roman, like the continuation of the reign of Roman. Like it was the way they built him, the storylines, like them finally decided to push him as the face of the company and making him, stay to that point. It was the thing is, man, like it's because of the releases, it's hard to kind of like highlight, the greatness, that was. You had, the Big E cash, right? Like that's something that everybody wanted. That's something that everybody, wanted to see. It's something that we knew that he was going to be the face of the company. His reign may not have been as dominant as we wanted, but that's okay. Now everybody can come in and have this perfect reign because now they can have multiple people at the front chasing the title. Him, Kevin Owens, Seth Rollins, and Bobby Lashley. So, and I think the reinvention of Bobby Lashley, I don't know if that took place. That was this year, right?
Yeah.
The reinvention of Bobby Lashley. Like he made us want to see him as champion. And he did a phenomenal job booking him that way. Like we wanted to see it. And they did it. Like I think they had some really great moments. Like again, going back to the Roman stuff and Bobby Lashley. So for all his flaws, like they did have some pretty good stuff. Like, but it still was repetitive. And AEW, since this is their inauguration year to the mainstream. So they had a lot. I mean, so many. I'm pretty sure I talked about the CM Punk debut, the Bryan Danielson, the fact that they decide to put the title at the very last, towards the end of the year, the fact that they put the title on Adam Page, even though I'm not a huge fan of his run, but at the same time he deserved it. So, and the way they told the story, them having some setbacks, they still found a way to tell a really good story.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, you did a lot in one segment. We're doing like a moment by moment.
Oh, my bad. So yeah. No, like it was like wrestling overall this year though, this probably was one of the better years. Because of the choices that we had. Because of AEW, and if not for AEW, I don't think we're as excited because wrestling purists, you Kenny and Sia, and I think to some extent you Chance, like y'all have other shows that y'all watch. So for me, it was only WWE until AEW came along.
Yeah, I'll piggyback on what you said about the Roman because the Roman was like probably the only one that I was gonna give. I was gonna give Roman and Brock because obviously Roman, his reign is phenomenal. Because one, what we got from Roman was with me, and I know we've all talked, but me and Mike were going crazy like forever about how Roman needs to be a heel, how he needs to come and do this, how he needs to just be like the Usos and just be who he really is. And then we got that when he returned and kind of whooped up on Bray and Braun. And then we were kind of like, oh, okay. And then we got the good slow burn because then we kind of got to see it. Then we saw Paul Heyman, and then we're like, okay, cool. Is this really going to be what we think it is? He was still kind of playing both fences. So maybe he's not. Maybe it's WWE still being WWE. They're going to pretend he is, but he really isn't. and then we got full blown heel, and then everything was amazing from like pause from a shirt coming off finally to a different intro of music to the swagger, like that whole shit was amazing. And then you go on to the next thing, Brock. We got a different Brock. Like I knew Brock would be back at some point, but I've always been like, I'm not. Brock's always looked like a beast. I've always wanted him to have his beard because when he had his beard in UFC, I was like, yo, he looks crazy right now. And then he would always come back to WWE and be the clean cut dude. I'm like, whatever, that's cool. But I didn't think we get Viking Brock, like with the full hair, ponytail type shit, until like I saw him in this one show on YouTube that I just happened to see it. And I was like, I wonder if he'll come on WWE like that or if he'll cut it off before he joins. And then we got Viking Brock, and I think we got Viking face Brock. So we got two things that I don't think we knew we wanted that we got.
Well, yeah, to piggyback, and you was gonna say something because I don't want to.
No, we're good.
Okay, so the whole like Brock thing, again, to the fact that he didn't have Paul Heyman, and we still was able to fall in love with this persona that he has now, which is more like his normal self. Like him and Zayn had an excellent program, and if you didn't watch SmackDown, which again is hard to watch SmackDown, but if you didn't, then you would have missed that that back and forth, the chemistry that they had. And again, it was more towards the latter of the year, but even going back to actually, like again, the highlight Roman Reigns was Finn Balor thing. The way they booked it was terrible, but like everything else up until that point, like they gave Cesaro, they put him in the main event. Like the way they booked certain superstars, again, they would have helped. They would have used that momentum and kind of pushed them even more, so they have multiple battles with Cesaro. His return was really good too. His second return, third return, the one before this one. Like, it was really good as well because Daniel Bryan. This is another thing about Bryan Danielson. Like, this dude in 1 year helped like 2 companies. You know what I'm saying? Like, he was in the main event picture with Roman Reigns and Edge, and he had everybody believing that it was a strong possibility that he can actually, in that triple threat match, possibly retain, or not retain, but get the title back. And then he went and left, and then he did what CM Punk was supposed to do for AEW. And it's no slight against CM Punk, but like it's showing that Bryan Danielson and people really love him as a character. And to think at one point we did have him, CM Punk as like right all at the same time, and they all were champions. Just want to throw that out there.
Kenny, what's up with your screen, B? You're gonna have people thinking we're doing Twitter Spaces.
Nah.
All right. What's another moment you got, Kenny?
I think it's a moment people actually forgot because they kind of built on it, but they didn't. So people talk about how Impact and AEW had their merger, but when the Forbidden Door really opened is when Kenta popped up on AEW in February, which was really early in the year, and they didn't build on it because Moxley went and defended it on New Japan, not on AEW, and then he had other stuff on AEW, but that first moment, it was a true crossover because it was actually on New Japan, which everyone didn't expect. The New Japan Strong, which is the American version. So Kenta opening the Forbidden Door was really big. We thought that would maybe bounce off some Kenny Omega stuff. That didn't happen either. Another Forbidden Door moment, that's a moment of the year for me, was the Labors of Jericho. Decline. Labors of Jericho, because got Nick Gage, which thanks to Vice is one of them. He made me go look into deathmatch wrestling a while ago. So I already knew who he was. I already knew what was up. And then he popped up on the screen. I'm like, oh, shit, this is going to be crazy. They couldn't obviously do as much as what a Nick Gage match would be because that stuff usually either on YouTube or other TV things, not on TV, which you can't do some of the stuff because he's crazy. And it also led to Juventud Guerrero, 20 years out of the game, and bam. So he was on our screens too. So Forbidden Door being open is, let's just call that a moment by itself.
Mike?
Well, Kenny just talked about it, and then again, like for me, just not watching AEW, like not watching AEW coming in and saying like angles like that, the fight between MJF and Chris Jericho and what that meant for AEW. The reason why I started watching was because so to me, it was the way AEW in general, that was the highlight of the year, like the way they told the story of the MJF and Chris Jericho. When again to the Heyman Page thing, just not really knowing who he was, and then kind of getting drawn to the story. Man, just every stables. Like the fact again, like I wasn't a big AEW guy. Like remember, I bench watched 2 months of it and 2 weeks, and it was just like watching like the stables and how important the role they play. I can tell you a bad moment real quick is the way the fans Rose. That man does everything to try to be a face, and they still boo him.
Who?
And what Cody Rose, man, they put they put
Cody,
man to a flaming table.
Cody said several times he don't believe in faces.
Cody is that's that Vince McMahon thing, man. But he tripping. Like he tripping. Cause my dog, he's doing everything to try to get himself over, and it ain't working. He'll actually be coming unless I'm late, and it already happened. But just want to put it out there.
Yeah, I think one thing that we went over was the way that Adam Cole and Bryan Danielson showed up was crazy.
Yeah,
probably one of the top pops. Because first we thought it would be Cole. Well, first we thought it'd be Daniel, and then it wasn't. So we're like, oh, okay, cool. But we got Cole though. Like we didn't really expect that. So that's cool. They'll end up with Cole, and then maybe we'll get Bryan Danielson on another pay-per-view. That's cool, whatever. And then he popped. That whole 12-minute segment was crazy. It was crazy.
The roof came off. It was crazy for real. Another moment, which is kind of like the Hangman Page situation, and the fact that they didn't build on it too much. We still talking about it. We still waiting for it to be improved on. Is the Britt Baker getting the pop from her winning the belt? That shit. That as a moment, you felt like he was in the building if you was watching it live. That was some crazy ish right there.
Mike, what else you got?
Mike done disappeared again.
I think one that I remember is, and it's not a good thing, is the rebrand of NXT.
Now we going into worse.
That's terrible. Nah, I mean, wait, hold on. Now, before we do that, Bianca Belair was a great moment, though. Like a great moment. Did y'all talk about Bianca Belair?
No,
you go ahead.
Oh, yes, so Bianca Belair, like that. One of the moments, title, seeing her carry the company for a while, especially after Bayley went down, and they gave us exactly what we wanted, and she proved without.
Mike, you have a technical difficulties, brother.
Yeah, you pop it in and out.
Thanks. All right. So what about now? Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Verizon, I guess you give Verizon as a sponsor. So no, Bianca Belair, like the fact is they gave us a champion. They gave us an opportunity to watch her grow, and then they gave us exactly what we wanted, which is her become a champion. And then with the way she carried the title, and how she continued to do feat after feat to make herself, just phenomenal and almost like a myth. Like she's becoming, one of the great women wrestlers, and she's under 30 if I'm not mistaken. So I think like them building up and using her the again, like despite the fact that they did a terrible job with NXT, going forward, as the last few call ups, when did Bianca get called up? Was that 2 years ago? Or was that last? How long ago was Bianca called up? Just out of curiosity, anybody remember?
I feel like it was last year.
It was last year.
I think it was like September in 2020.
Yeah,
but it took a long time to use her
because it was like doing
they were just attaching her to the Street Profits at first.
Oh, okay, that's what it was. That's why I feel like she was just called up for some reason. Like she was the last call up of that 2. Before it became 2.0. Oh my God, you just reminded me of Keith Lee and stuff. But you can talk about the bad, but Bianca Belair is definitely one of the greats and the goods. Dang, it sucks. So WWE don't have a lot of great stuff. That sucks.
No, we don't. Do we have any more great moments that happen, especially in the AEW?
I was actually trying to think of something anywhere else, but no, I got nothing else.
I mean, the whole wrestling was a great moment. Like I think Mike alluded to that earlier. Like because of all these different things in the Forbidden Door, like I did pay more attention to Impact, which I haven't watched in years. I did watch a little more New Japan. I did watch Ring of Honor, especially because they were closing the doors. I did watch GP. What is it? GPW, GPC, something like that.
Oh, GCW.
The one where Zack Ryder, aka Matt, got the title.
Yeah, it's GCW. Yeah,
I did watch a little bit of that. I basically watched it. I never watched before. I watched a little bit of MLW, and it was all because I'm just curious of who would pop up where. So wrestling as a whole, I think had a phenomenal year. There's certain companies that clearly did way better, and I guess that'd be a segue of some of the worst things. And I'll just say one thing, and we can go from there. One of the worst things to me was the 50 million releases in WWE.
Yeah, I can't even keep track of what happened in what years. At first, it was we had the big one last year, beginning of the pandemic. Well, not beginning, but big one last year, and then they did it again on the same exact day, and then they had two more sets of releases after that. So we're like, first we're like, damn, we're numb from them having a back-to-back years same time. Then they did two more in the same year. So that's so many of those as moments is crazy. So yeah, that's definitely one of the worst. You always want people to be employed, even if they're not being used properly. Not like they did anything in their own way to fail. It was the system failed them. So yeah, that was pretty shitty.
Wait, great moment because y'all talk about releases is the fact that they was able to somehow convince Kevin Owens to sign back. I feel like that was a great moment.
Great moment
because
for
they could not afford. Yeah, well, the thing is, they could not afford to lose him. At least in my opinion,
because in the grand scheme of things, I mean, yeah, Kevin Owens had a decent few Roman Reigns. I think they stretched it out too long, all that stuff. That's why I'm still watching SmackDown live. But yeah, I don't think there's anybody besides right now. I think maybe 5 people: Roman Reigns, Big E, Bobby Lashley,
Brock Lesnar,
maybe Sasha Banks and Bianca Belair. I think obviously they could lose Charlotte because they almost did. I think besides those 5, if you could disappear and I wouldn't be that shocked. Not only would I not be shocked, I don't think it would make a difference in WWE's grand scheme of things. No one's going to turn off the channel if anybody but those 5 go missing. If we're being really, really realistic, I mean, people already not turned off the channel. They should have turned it off a long time ago, like I did. So I don't see anyone but those 5 making that big of a damn, this person gone. I ain't watching this shit no more because one, we numb. 2, no one else is that much of a major player. Again, we talk about how phenomenal some of these people are. Mustafa Ali, Ricochet, like these people aren't on TV, and when they are, they get stupid shit. Like if those incredible people could disappear, we wouldn't even really care.
It's Christmas, man. This is not what this is supposed to be about. Why are we doing this right now?
I was going to
slandering.
You're in review.
I was going to piggyback off what Kenny said because to prove your point, Kenny, I legitimately thought I gave him the benefit of the doubt, even though it was a shitty segment. I tuned in at the end. I legitimately thought they were going to let Ricochet go after Nakamura for the title. I said, oh, okay, cool. They're going to give it to Shinsuke. It's going to be good. Maybe Ricochet get the belt. They have a little IC run. Cool. And they let him lose to Sami Zayn. Like, Sammy's been so buried for so long. Like, why do I want to see Sammy versus Shinsuke? Like, I don't.
Before you go, Mike, real quick, because I've said it before. We don't agree on. Think about it, right? Because I keep telling people this about WWE. They up until recent, even when they can't book, individual wrestlers' characters still get to shine through a lot. And I think Sami Zayn, with the whole conspiracy theories and all that other stuff, that's shown through very well. And he also does a very good job backing it up on Twitter. Same thing with the big dog. With the big dog before Roman Reigns, even if we didn't like how much else forced him down our throat, it was still a character. And then you got head of the table Roman Reigns. Characters still come out. The problem is the booking doesn't match. Sami Zayn could talk about it's a conspiracy. That's all he always loses. But if you can book that, which means you should make him actually lose in conspiracies. Or if he's just a heel and he's being smart, I mean, he has to blatantly lose so clear. But they don't do anything because everything is 50-50 booking. So neither one of those come across. And then it's like, okay, so we don't even care. It could be any, and then give him a win, and it doesn't matter because he was never going to get the belt from Shinsuke. So why did he beat Ricochet? Like, these wins and losses mean absolutely nothing. Like, they win at the wrong time, they lose at the wrong time. It makes no sense.
Well, I was just gonna say, like, with that whole thing is the issue in and of itself is the fact that Shinsuke is not being used. Like, it's not a bad thing. Like, he's in a tag team. The issue is that he used to always get pinned, and then the second thing is he doesn't defend the championship, and that's great when you're booked as like a Roman Reigns type of character or Brock. But in this particular case, Shinsuke is not booked like that. And he doesn't defend, but he has this long title reign, and now it doesn't mean anything. So they have to and will have to figure out a way to make it mean something going forward. So that expectations is different though. Like, I can't get into expectations because it gets into fantasy booking and Like, yeah, that's a little bit different.
Which is why it would have been an amazing moment if Ricochet would have won.
Yeah, it would have changed everything. Yeah.
Then you could have went
Yeah,
exactly what you said. You could have went into fantasy booking, changed the whole perspective of it. Like, okay, cool. Nakamura hasn't been doing shit with it, but at least with Ricochet, if he doesn't get those matches, he's going to give you some great magic moments.
I was just about to say that. Yeah, at the very least, he would give you great magic moments, and then you can have him versus Mustafa. Like you could do things with that.
Like you could once again make it like the come up title.
But I mean, that's essentially what it's supposed to. It's supposed to be the workings man title. Like that's what it's supposed to be.
But of course, they didn't do that. So Sammy won. I don't care who wins between Sammy and Shinsuke because it basically makes that belt like.
It depends now. If they use Sammy, like if they give the title back to Sammy and they allow him to fight other people, like if they make, because Sammy can carry whatever. Like Sammy is supposed to be a world heavyweight champion. Like he can do that. He can be that guy. The issue is, they'll tease him in the main event picture, but not necessarily push him in the main event picture. I just don't understand why. Like that's another story for another day. But I do have a question for y'all. I don't know. Like I have a question. Who's the MVP? Like for this year, who's the single-handed like the MVP of wrestling? Like every company, the fact that y'all watch multiple things, like who's the guy who gets wrestler of the year for y'all?
I give it to you right now. It would probably have to be, if I could.
I know it's gonna be hard because it's really like 3 people I think that qualify. Like truly.
It's a personal preference type of thing, though. Because
of course, no, it's for each of y'all. For each one of y'all could be different. Yeah,
I thought it was gonna be easy, and then I thought of like 3-4 people already. So.
Exactly. Yeah. So I'm just curious who y'all got.
Hold on, I'm gonna tell you why y'all think about that real quick.
All right, so I'm gonna tell you who mine is, and Kenny, unless you got one, like, and again, you can name a bunch of people, like even like from females, like I can, Britt Baker is amazing, right? Like, and I think she legit should be considered as like one of the greatest, wrestlers. Easily MJF is another one. Obviously Roman, and then you have Kenny Omega, and you have Chris Jericho. Just today, like just a bunch of different people. For me, I'm gonna give it to Kenny Omega, and it's kind of cheating because I know that WWE doesn't allow the wrestlers to do other things outside of the company. Because Roman Reigns could easily be number one, but I'm gonna give it to Kenny Omega because of how long he's been doing it and how frequently. And again, it's not Roman's fault. His character is not made to be that way, but it's how frequently he defends his title, the type of matches that he's allowed to put on, has just been like absolutely phenomenal. And while he may not be the same face, like if you're a wrestling fan, you won't know who Kenny Omega is. And I really but you can walk down the street and recognize Roman Reigns, right? Because they advertise their wrestlers different than one of the biggest wrestling companies. But with Kenny Omega, like he's made himself a mainstream like household name because of what he was able to do in AEW, because of his ability to just put on like absolutely phenomenal matches and his versatility as both a heel and a face. And I don't know the last time he was a face. Honestly, like I don't know. When I started watching him truly, like he was a heel. So I don't even know the last time he was a face. But that Kenny Omega would be mine.
I mean, I'm gonna have to go with my best friend Kenny Omega right here.
We're doing too. I knew the whole time, like, damn it, Mike had
like, I know. I set us up for him to put the picture up there, but also the fact he just said my best friend Kenny Omega.
I mean, we did watch Spider-Man together, so
you watched Spider-Man on the same day. It's not the same.
We set together.
It's not the same.
Oh man, honestly, this might be a little bit out of left field because not.
I'm curious. Yeah, I knew I was gonna go conventional, so I'm yeah.
Mine's is Mox.
Oh,
that's a good one.
Yeah, I see why. I can see why. I can see why.
Now, if I'm being 100, let me get the screen back to where it's supposed to be. Hold up, real quick. If I'm being 100, I would say Roman.
I know.
For the simple fact of, I mean, realistically, Kenny did do his thing. Like Kenny is that dude, and
literally destroyed his body.
But the only reason why I would say Roman is the simple fact that up until 3 weeks ago, I only watched WWE because of Roman. Like he was literally holding the company down by himself for me, because that was the only reason why I would tune in to SmackDown, was just to watch Roman. I didn't watch Raw. I didn't watch NXT. I legitimately only put SmackDown on so I could see the work that Roman was doing with everyone. Because like you said, he carried Cesaro, he carried who
Kevin
else?
Owens,
Who?
Kevin KO. He fought
Yeah,
out. Yeah,
KO. He
Finn
did the
Balor.
he did the Edge thing. He did the Finn Balor thing. He
Mhm.
elevated the Usos. Like everything he's done has been amazing. So yeah. So Roman would be mine.
I mean Roman's like you said, like it was to me, and I didn't think about Marks, like, and so it was either Chris Jericho, John Mox. I could throw Cody Rhodes in there, Bianca Belair, Britt Baker, like all of those, and Charlotte. But Charlotte, she one of the people that you could kind of just say, and Becky. No, I don't think Becky was this year. That was last year, I think. But this is my thing with like Roman. Goes to your point, just to kind of add on. You're not the only person that was only watching SmackDown. Like Roman was the bright spot of SmackDown for a very, very long time. Like I said, up until the stale part of it, which was the last 3 weeks. So the fact that they took the time in that 2 hour show to focus so much excellent storytelling, with them, and then the fact that the way he portrayed that particular character, like is crazy. I just to y'all, like going back to your point, and I guess one of the reasons why Kenny chose Mox was because of what him and Kenny Omega did for AEW. Because Moxley, like he did. Again, if you didn't know him as Dean Ambrose, you definitely know him as John Moxley, and you know him like the character now, like you know who he is.
Yeah.
So
I see what Mike tried to do. He tried to go into MVP, go back Happy Sunshine because Christmas and all that. But I got 3 worst moments that I gotta say, and I gotta get off. Chance
Wait,
already
Let
NXT.
me hold on.
So I'm not gonna do this without saying the negatives.
Yeah, hold on. Let me still piggyback off Roman. And again, like more reason why I have to give it to Roman, because yeah, obviously you can give it to Kenny, like I said, but look at everything as you said. When you talk about Kenny, you can still talk about Moxley. You can still
yeah.
you can still talk about
Chris
Jericho.
Jericho, MJF. Yeah.
You can still talk about MJF. You can talk about CM Punk coming. You can talk about Bryan Danielson. You can talk about the Young Bucks because the Young Bucks had a phenomenal year. Like there's a lot of shit you can talk about. You can talk about Hangman Page and the slow build. Like so much shit you can talk about AEW to hold him down. But what can you legitimately say about WWE this year? Besides, we'll take Roman out.
Yeah,
Besides the fact that Big
Bianca.
E finally
Yeah.
got that we what we wanted, what else could you say about WWE? I was like, yo, that they were holding it down.
Not only Bianca, Biggie, and Roman. Like those were the staple, like the highlights of the year. Actually, like those 3 people of color.
Yeah, so go ahead, Mike. I mean, Kenny.
Yeah.
All right, we gotta talk about it because I almost forgot this happened this year. And then of course, I should know because I was actually still watching Karrion Kross. But all of
Come on, not this. Like
we got to discuss that. Well, we ain't got to discuss it. I just got to point it out. I can't hold it on my chest. That was lost.
So, do you know that there was a rumor that Scarlett was brought over to actually manage someone else?
Yeah, I did see that.
That's terrible.
Go ahead.
Yeah, so they brought him on TV with the NXT belt, which was this is the beginning. Well, not the beginning. NXT was being destroyed for a while, but this was a big step in the NXT's destruction. So they lost. They made him lose with the belt on. Then they took the belt off of him. Then he got squashed by Jeff. Then he put a gimp suit on. So that all, and then they thought he was He-Man. All horrible.
Just to let the people understand it, just in case you don't understand, Kenny and Chad. NXT was Elseworld. Like it's not real. Like it's Elseworld booking. Like it's not the same universe as WWE Raw. Because that's what I tell myself.
I can legit.
It's also what they say. They say NXT universe and they call everything else the universe.
So. All right, so two things. One, I can legit see why Triple H had a heart problem. Like being all jokes aside.
Okay, because that's a joke.
All jokes aside, because as you're older, I don't know, Kenny. I think you're still in the younger side, but me and Mike are there.
Like 21. Yeah,
as you're in the stage that me and Mike are in, when you start to stress on certain things, obviously we're not having a heart attack, but you feel a certain panic, like God damn, like ooh, like you start to feel it. When you see your world crumbling, like everything you built, the blood, the sweat, tears, time away from his kids, time away from Steph, like all that time, and it's just like, how do you think he feels seeing the whole Undisputed Era on AEW? That's one. Two, is there some validity to what I believe Kevin Owens said, that NXT should just be called something different because it no longer is NXT?
It might as well be.
I mean, because It need to go back. Where's OVW? That still exists?
I don't think so.
Nah.
So it should be like it, whatever that was. That's kind of what NXT should be, because they ripped up, from what all we understand, if I'm not mistaken, that was 100% Triple H, right? Like he started it from the ground up. It was a small little web series, and then Vince saw money, and then it was like, okay, we're gonna put it on TV. This is correct, right? Like it was a small series of just for developmental.
It was small.
God, it was Florida Championship. I know it was FCW before.
Okay, yeah. So you remember there's plenty of developmental, but then Vince killed the indies, so indies don't not the territories, not the indies. Sorry, he destroyed the territory. Yeah. Therefore, W, Deep South, those things can't exist anymore. Deep South was owned by WWE. It was Deep South, FCW, and OVW were the last three, I believe. Deep South went out of business. Xavier Woods one of their last champions. That's how long ago they went out of business. OVW was, that's how we got Cena, Randy Orton, Batista.
Yeah.
And then
that's probably the class of like the all-time best class. But go ahead.
Yeah, but it was all the same time. Shelton Benjamin, all the same time. And then you had FCW where Roman, where the Shield was basically created more or less. FCW had a couple other things going. It was pretty good. NXT was a game show. That's what they tried to make it first. It was tough enough. Then it was a game show, stupid thing, and then it was an actual wrestling show, hard hitting, some of the best shit you ever seen. And that's when it was on the WWE Universe. As soon as it came onto TV, they put it on USA, and then they put it directly against AEW, which had its own problems and positives and negatives. And so definitely you could say it was basically all him. He's not like the founder, but them last, I want to say 8 years.
They fucked it up when they made it a TV deal.
I think it started getting fucked up a little bit before that, because I still think 2014, 2015 is when NXT was fire. Those last call-ups, those are also the last successful call-ups. But even then, after they went again, like, okay, but we're this, and then we were this, and once we stop being this, which you can't, I guess, put on TV for whatever reason. But even then, because if you look at the takeovers, people will be like, oh, we're gonna still come for the takeovers, because the takeovers are still fire. Then they went a little too far. This is part of the competition thing, I think it is, because when Finn and Bobby literally broke each other's jaw. Like, they really injured themselves because they were trying so hard to be the thing they were, that when they were winning, that they weren't shit anymore, basically. And then, you already had Karrion Kross, who got injured a little bit before that. You had just let go of Keith Lee, who was a double champion. Well, not let go, but, he moved up. You had all that thing happen back to back to back, and that happened at the same time. But at least when with that stuff, you could be like, well, that's not my fault. They wanted Keith, so he took him. Killer Cross got injured, injuries happen. And then the two injured each other, injuries happen. But those were the last not my fault things to happen to it. Because everything else is like, Vince like, okay, that's it. It's mine again now. So
my issue is there's two sides to this. And there's two ways to look at this. The thing about NXT is the ratings were not great. And it's not Vince's fault that the ratings were not great. I'm going to tell you what Vince's fault was. Vince's issue was he was too busy worried about the ratings. Like, oh, they was getting a butt kicked by it. I'm not talking about when they was getting a butt kicked, quote unquote, by AEW. I mean, there's a difference between a developmental company and developmental like territory like NXT. That's what it was. It was to develop wrestlers for the main roster, and then AEW, which was a main roster. I don't care about that. My issue is, and what Vince was wrong at, was the fact that he took it from him in the first place. I don't care about like the ratings itself, because that's not what NXT was not put on TV to be a ratings generator. It was put on TV as an alternative to watch people come up. And the way it was working, the way it looked, the way, because the color scheme for NXT 2.0, that's not a problem. Like, that's whatever. It's everything else.
So let's do this. We're going to end this real quick because it's live, and we're going between 2 to 5 viewers, so whatever. So people probably busy at Christmas. We're going to end it here.
Obviously.
We'll take it to Zoom, make it an episode right now. But I want to talk about, if you guys have the time, but we seem to have the time, of the destruction of NXT, like we're talking about. How could it actually been good? Because Kenny did say before you got on, like, maybe we should talk about resolutions to how we can make certain things better. So we'll segue into the destruction of NXT to how can, if they can, NXT and WWE come back from this, and then obviously we'll touch on what's we call AEW, which they don't really have that much tweaking to do, but we can talk about that.
If y'all about to partake in potentially planning the murder of Vince McMahon, I am not going to be a part of that. So I'm going to send me the link.
I said if they can come back.
Yeah, so go ahead and send me the link.
But if you guys are
Yeah.
watching live or if you're watching on the playback, make sure you get ready to watch the episode that will air maybe later on today or on Monday, whatever. But we're going to do that. Destruction of NXT.
This should definitely be a later episode because it's the end of the year review. It just happened to be recorded on Christmas
Yeah.
because none of us apparently love our family like that. So I'm
well,
joking. I'm
Spanish. I'm Spanish. I love my family yesterday, so I'm good.
I'm still cooking. Yeah, because you're Hispanic. I'm Black, American, so it's different.
We'll be right back, but appreciate y'all.
Yeah.